Today is going to be one of those unboxings where it's less about something that's hilarious and awful and more about something that's kind of neat and kind of obscure and obsolete. So, without further ado, I present the Laser Compumate-1. It's a personal digital assistant. It's got a full QWERTY keyboard, and it also has like a numpad built into some of these buttons. And it's pretty neat. It has a little LCD readout. I don't know how many characters are on the screen, but it serves three primary functions. It is first and foremost a spelling checking device, a spell check, and then it also has a calculator and an address book, telephone book built into it, so you can store your contact informations. And it's it's clearly something from another era, which is why I like it, because this is the type of device that existed when computers didn't have spell check, like word processors and things like that. So computers can do a lot, and they still did a lot back in the 80s and stuff when things like this came out. But they didn't do as much as they do today that we kind of take for granted. So if you were typing something up, you didn't have spell check, this is a device that you could use for spell check. Additionally, if you were also using a typewriter, which this was back when people still did that, they did make, just in general, the market in general, you could buy digital typewriters that had a spell check feature built into it, but they were really expensive. And if you were a company that already had a fleet of perfectly good typewriters that weren't digital, then it was more economically friendly to just buy a couple of these and take them to the office and say, here's a spell check device, go use your typewriter. So anyways, I don't really know a whole lot about the Laser Company or the Compumate series, but I saw this in the store and I wanted to pick it up. It operates on 4 AA batteries, and I've put them in there. It also operates on 12-volt DC current with an AC adapter plug. When I bought it at the store, it didn't have its plug, but I have a 12-volt DC connector, and it worked just fine. It's kind of in haggard condition. It's a little bit melty around the edges. It still has all of the instructions for spell check and calculator, phone book. It has all the buttons do, and there's a lot of really weird shortcuts that you can use for that as well. The device itself actually powers on, and I will prove it. Right now there's batteries in it, and it goes into a standby mode if you don't touch it for a little while. So if you go over here, there's an on button, dedicated on button, and so you can see that 8 kilobytes of RAM. Okay, and there's a contrast knob. Let me see if I can. It's not really readable, but okay, there we go. All right, so then when you boot it up, let's see there we go. 8K of RAM, 8 kilobytes. The frickin' laptop that I'm using just to watch the chat for this stream has 8 gigabytes of RAM, has 1,000 times the RAM as this thing in my hand right here. So after you boot it up, it says select the mode 1 through 3, and you use the number keys over here for that. 1 is the spelling checker, 2 is the calculator, 3 is the address book. So if you go over to 1, it says spell checker, and you enter the word. So say you want to spell horse, and you type it in. That's correct. So you hit enter. It says correctly spelled. Yay, horse. Yay, you did it. You spelled horse. So you hit enter again, you enter the word. Now if you want to type, like, let's say alligator, and let's leave out the O for alligator, and then if you hit enter to go, it'll actually scan the word. You didn't spell it right, and it suggests, is this the word you're thinking of? Are you thinking of alligator? So if that's the word you're thinking of, then this is what you would type on your typewriter or your word processor or whatever it is you're using. So this is, it gives you some other suggestions if you scroll, alligators, and that's it. So you could probably get it to suggest multiple words if you thought of something that was misspelled in such a way that you would have multiple suggestions. But it's I like this. It's been terribly obsoleted, but I still think, you know, I can imagine some business professional in the 80s would have one of these at his desk, along with his computer and like a desk phone and all sorts of other stuff like that, which, I mean, in this day and age, spell check is so ubiquitous that it's built right into your web browser for the most part. So we take this for granted that way back in the day, you could type words on a computer, but it still wouldn't tell you if you were spelling it right. So this is just something that I think is really interesting from a bygone era, and it works perfectly. And the keyboard is surprisingly typable. It's all the keys work. They have nice feedback. Oh yeah, I was typing all that in there. All the buttons work. All the keys work. They're not nasty gummy buttons. They have some feedback, and it actually feels like you're pushing a button. And I guess, you know, for the sake of completion, I can also kind of show off the other functions. I mean, if you go over to the calculator, I'm pretty sure we can all guess what that is. I mean, if we got 45, and if you want to add another 45 to that, and then you hit enter, assuming this works, we should get 90. Yay, 90. There you go, 45 and 45. We did it. It's a calculator. But again, this is something that you would have had a dedicated piece of hardware for if you were a professional. You would have had a adding machine at your desk, potentially with the little roll of paper that it would print out. So, you know, this is something that lumped it together. And you could also buy small electronic spell checkers. So having 3 things in one, instead of having 3 little tiny things at your desk, just having one dedicated device for all 3 was a kind of a step in the direction that technology ultimately took, where now just computers, they just do all this for you. And most people don't even need a desk phone anymore because they have Skype. So this has been completely obsoleted, you know, just a matter of a few years after it was released. But like I said, it was something I found at the Goodwill, and I thought it was just really interesting from a, you know, just as kind of a sign of the times, something from the era of old school, I don't know, corporate business and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the Laser Company Compumate Mark 1. Honestly, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to do a lot of research before this episode, because this is something I found literally today, and I was like, oh, that's it. I'm taking this back. We're doing this for the unboxing today. So maybe I might be able to find if they had other installments in this series and if they did anything different. But I don't know. In the meantime, thank you for checking out this GatorUNbox, and I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna switch back over. Nope, I think that's that beep is the thing that means it's gonna turn itself off. So it's, like I said, it goes into a standby mode once you leave it alone for a while. Damn it, lost my train of thought. Thanks, Compumate. Yes, I'm gonna put the abbreviated titled "Coming Soon" card back up, and then we're gonna play some Gamecom games. So stick around, we'll be right back.